Hey guys, Runner Free here. I've got a new reel to review for you guys. This is going to be the Soloking Acura HICC-50. My particular version is going to be the 7-50L. That is the 7.1:1 gear ratio left-hand reel. This reel is being sold under the name Dovielo, but actually when you look for it on AliExpress, it's under the Soloking store. So I don't know if this is just one brand that's the older brand, the Dovielo brand, and they're trying to transition over to the Soloking brand or whatever. But anyways, so let's get to the unboxing. This reel is actually a Darkwolfultra Black Knight 2 variant, and you'll kind of see, and I'll show you in a second. But let's go ahead and open this box up. And what you get in the box is basically your standard stuff. So they give you the you get your schematic, and they give you a nice little gift. This is a line keeper, and we'll go over that a little bit later maybe. I actually opted to get a second spool, which is kind of what sets this reel apart from all the other the Darkwolfultra clones. And so this is a deep spool, and it's going to get you 16 pounds. You're going to get 150 to 200 meters. For 20-pound tests, you're going to get 100 to 150 meters. And yeah, so it's kind of unique in that the other clones don't really come with or give you the option of purchasing the extra spool here. So that's kind of what one of the reasons why I'm particularly drawn to this reel. Anyways, so here is the reel, and I've taken this reel out before, so it's not a true unboxing of sorts. But let me go ahead and set that aside. And so, yeah, once you look at it, it's virtually identical, and for all intents and purposes, it is. And however, there is one thing that is different, and that one thing, aside from the paint job and all the branding, is going to be this. And so when you open up, this is what you get. You get static, the old traditional static brake system. And so this is what sets this reel apart, along with that spool, from the other Darkwolfultra variants. And you'll notice that on the spool, they have this extra little plate part that allows it to interact with the magnets. It does make the spool a little bit heavier, and so we can go ahead and get a weight for you guys, and then we can compare it to the Darkwolfultra weight. But anyways, so let me go ahead and tear it, and this is in grams, and the weight on this spool, if it wants to stop, is going to be 6.53, and that's with the bearing on there. So, if you're adding line, then maybe give it another gram or so, depending. And here's my Darkwolfultra, and it's spooled up with approximately 50 meters of 0.6 go line. And so I'll go ahead and weigh this. And this has got the ceramic bearings, but this one comes out to 6.66 grams. So, and that's got line and a little bit of painter's tape to just keep the line on there. So you can see that this is going to be not a lot, but it's going to be heavier. Just a side note, so converting this newer Darkwolfultra from a static brake system back to the dynamic brake system is definitely a doable thing, and I don't know that I can suggest it yet, but I wanted to test it to see if just keeping the static braking system is better than the dynamic. So what I did was I actually stuck two little toothpicks in there to kind of keep the brake shoe from moving around, and yeah, so the brake shoes don't move anymore, and this is removable. So even if you go back to the dynamic, or revert back to the dynamic brake system, you can still find ways of making it static again. And so I think what I'm going to do is, in the future, I'm going to test whether or not the new version as a dynamic system is better, worse, whether or not the modification is worth it. And also probably compare it to this system, which is your completely traditional static brake system. Anyway, so that's that. There's the weights for you guys. So One of the other things that kind of sets this reel apart from the other Darkwolf variants is that the Darkwolf comes claiming that it gives you 10+1 bearings, but actually when I tore this reel down, I could only find 9. And so I'm not really sure where they're getting the 10 number from, because there's 4 in the handle, there's 1 here, there's 1 in the spool tension, there's 2 on the spool, and that's really all I could count. So what is that? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then there's another one inside on the main shaft. So that's 9. So I'm not really sure where they're getting 10 from. I haven't torn this reel down yet to check and verify what they're claiming. And what they're claiming is 11+1 ball bearings. So just kind of, right off the bat, that is a obviously larger number than all of the other variants. I don't know the exact number of ball bearings the Black Knight 2 is claiming, but there's another reel that's very, very similar to this one, made by a company called Kingdom, or being sold under the Kingdom name, and that one claims 9+1 ball bearings. So maybe they're actually being, completely truthful with the number of bearings. But anyways, I do plan on tearing this reel down completely to check on the number of bearings. 11+1 does seem a little high. I'm not really sure why they wouldn't put 12+1, but anyways, yeah, I digress. So the difference between this and the Darkwolfultra right off the bat. So the first thing that I noticed is, well, one, it's got paint, right? And they put a glossy coat on it, and I actually kind of prefer that to the matte finish. Like holding the Darkwolfultra, it feels a little, I don't know, because of the matte finish, it feels a little slippery to me. Whereas this one, because it's got that glossy finish, it's a lot easier to grip and hold. I'm not sure that I like this color scheme more than, say, the Darkwolfultra. I kind of like that darker color, but it's not a bad color. It's a very neutral color, so it's not that bad, and I don't mind it at all. What other differences? You've got some branding here. You've got some branding on the spool tension knob. You've got Acura written on there. All of this is kind of cheap print, so I assume that at some point it'll come off. Other than that, the materials look to be all the same. It's got the same exact line guide. It's got the dimensions are all the same. The handle is all the same. Even the knobs are the same. This is painted. This is not painted. I kind of prefer the look of the Star Drag being kind of that unfinished carbon look. The body is a little bit different. What I did notice, though, is that one thing is that this little button, the clutch mechanism button, it's a little flimsy feeling on the Darkwolfultra, and for whatever reason on this one, even though it's the same button, I'm thinking because there's that extra layer of paint, it kind of feels a little more sturdy to me. Whether that's the case or not, it's anybody's guess. But yeah, so that's the Soloking Acura HICC dash, I think it's 50-7-50L. It comes in a 8.1 to 1 gear ratio variant as well, which is kind of different from the Darkwolfultra, which only has the 7.1 to 1. And yeah, you can buy that extra spool, like I said, and maybe take this saltwater fishing, or line it up for some bass fishing and whatnot. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting this and testing it out, spooling it up and testing it out, and also tearing it down. I will say, like, right out of the box, for whatever reason, this reel does feel a lot smoother than this reel did right out of the box. After I changed and upgraded the 2 worm bearings and then the spool bearings, it did feel a lot smoother. So I'm not really sure why that's the case. Yeah, both reels have a drag clicker. This one sounds a little more muted than that one, but if you don't have the 2 reels next to each other side by side, I don't think you're gonna really notice any difference. So yeah, I guess that's going to do it for this initial review. I'll do a teardown video, and then hopefully in some point in the future, I'll be able to get this reel out and do some distance casting and testing out how it casts versus this reel, both in the static I guess setup, and then also taking those toothpicks out and giving it back to, reverting it back to the dynamic system, and then comparing it to my 2022 Shimano Aldebaran, which I really love this reel, but you know, whether it's worth the price upgrade over these two reels, I don't know, and which one do I prefer between these two reels, we'll find out in the next video. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.